Shalom, Shalom, Israel. I want to give all honor, all glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashema Mashiach Wamadak Yahushua. Yahweh being the name of the Father, who the world only calls God, and Yahweh Shah, which is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. I want to give a strong shalom, right, to all the mighty Aqua. It's like all the mighty men that go out and labor, man, that's presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, teaching, exhortating, prophesying, doing all they can to magnify the name of the Lord. I want to give a strong shalom to the mighty Aquaf in this thing as well, that's reverencing their husbands, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, right, and on fire for the Lord. I want to give, last but not least, another strong shalom to all the mighty children and teenagers in this thing as well, doing all they can to make their calling and election sure. All right, and by the topic of this video is going into, are you willing to risk it all for the Lord? Right? I'm going to say it again. Are you willing, literally, to risk it all that you have for the Lord? Right? Because we're coming into exciting times. I was just talking to a brother earlier. It's something every day, man. Right? You got earthquakes literally every day. It's an earthquake every damn day. You got you got World War III on the rise. People getting bombed. Land masses getting bombed. You got all hell is breaking. Volcanoes erupting in the world. All right, so we got to be asking ourselves these things. Are we ready to risk all that we have for the Most High? You have to literally ask yourself this. All right? Because literally our forefathers, they risk all they had for the Lord, man. And literally they haven't seen the promises. They haven't seen the kingdom of heaven yet. But still, they operated all of these things and risk it all that they had. Right, I want to get this precept in the book of Acts. Right? Let me get this in the book of Acts, chapter 15. Right? It's the book of Acts, chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 25. It seemeth good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you with our beloved Barnabas and Paul. Right? So Barnabas and Paul was men that was sent out to do the work. It says, men that have hazarded their lives for the name of our Lord, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. I'm going to read that again. It says, men that have hazarded their lives. Now, when you go into that word hazard, it literally means to risk. So Paul and Barnabas was men that literally risked their lives for the name of the Lord. You got to ask yourself, am I willing to risk all I have? You might have a lot of things. You might have 20 pairs of shoes. You might have a down PS5, Xbox. You might have a Dodge Challenger outside. You might have a Lamborghini. You might have a nice condo. Are you willing to risk that for the Most High? That's what you have to ask yourself. Right, let me get this real fast. Hey, family members, are you willing to risk your family member? Let them go. Let go of the cares of this world, the money, because that's what's going to get a lot of brothers caught up at the latter end. Right? Let me get this in Matthew, man. All right, let me get this in Matthew chapter 4 and verse number 21. It says, and going on from thence, he saw other two brethren, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in a ship with Zebedee, their father, mending their nets, and he called them. Talking about Yahweh Shah, he literally called these men. Verse 22, and they immediately left the ship and their father and followed him. See that? So it said they immediately left the ship and they left their father. All right, now that's deep. Say some man, you don't know who he is. He said, hey, drop everything you have right now. Leave your father and follow me. And you're going to be asking questions. You'll be like, who are you? Who is this man right here? Who is that? Hey, that's the Lord himself. So James, he left his father, man. Right? I'm led to believe James's father was probably old. He couldn't really walk anymore. He was probably limping. But guess what? He left his father and followed the Lord. Right? You brothers and sisters, you gotta. It's the time is coming where you're gonna have to make smart and quick decisions. The time is coming. You're gonna have to make these decisions. You're gonna choose family time, them going out to Six Flags, going out to Fright Fest, or the Lord. It says the brother in my account, he came to me about a week ago and he said, hey, my job just they mandate the jab. He said if I don't get it by December 4th, I believe, he said then I'm gonna get fired. Now he gotta make a choice. He could either get the job and stay at his job, or he cannot get it and lose his job. And he got bills to pay, right? He might have a car note, a house. He has a house. He got a dog to take care of, right? Now he got to choose. He got to choose, is he willing to take the job, or is he willing to lose his job for the Most High? These are the decisions you come into. Now imagine if he had a family. All his income was coming on his job. And most people, they depend on their job to take care of their bills. I say you might have a car note, a phone bill. If those things get paid, dang, you're not going to have no transportation. Then the bill's not getting paid. Now you're not going to have nowhere to sleep. Then they're giving you an eviction notice saying, hey, you got to get out. You got to pay this by so-and-so or you got to get evicted. Next thing you know, you don't have a house anymore. Why? All because you don't want to take the job. But hey, this truth requires risk. If you didn't know, right, this truth, it literally requires risk. You have to take risk. Every decision you make in the truth is literally life or death. That's how you have to think. You got brothers saying, well, I'll fast next week. Hey, that's a life or death situation. You might not be here next week. All hell could literally break loose next week. All right. So I'm going to read that again. This is Matthew 4 and verse 22. And they immediately left the ship and their father and followed him. Right? So the two sons of Zebedee, James and John, guess what? They left their father in the ship. Now his father could have been old, man. There's no telling how old his father was, but what? He left his own pops and followed the Lord, man. Hey, James and John took a risk, right? I want to get this in Luke chapter 18. All right, let's go to the book of Luke. Chapter 18 and I'm going to start at verse 18, right? The classic. It says, and a certain ruler asked him, saying, good master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And Yahushua said it to him, why callest thou me good? There is none good. So like none is good, save one, that is God. Thou knowest the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not kill. Do not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother. And he said, all these have I kept from my youth up. Now when Yahushua heard these things, he said unto him, yet lackest thou one thing, right? You might be lacking one thing, right? To take risk. And they tell you in the world, and you never know when you take a risk. You might be betting on a sports game. All right, you betting on the Warriors versus the Cavaliers. All right, and guess what? And if you bet on the Warriors, you might lose. It's a chance you could lose, and it's a chance you could win. But what? You might take that risk. You might say, you know what? The Warriors, they have Stephen Curry. They have all they need. I'm going to go with them. But you don't know. And that's how you have to be in this truth, man. You literally have to take risk in this truth. Dang, I might not have my job if I don't do that. I'm going to just go ahead and call off and take this fast. I really need it. I feel like my flame is flickering. Hey, that's taking a risk. Next thing you know, next week, you on fire, man. You exhortating. you're prophesying, you're doing all you can. Right? So this truth, right? If you tuning in, this truth requires you to take risks. You might have to risk your life. Right? We're gonna get to that. You might have to risk your own life for the Lord. And it's really not even yours. It belongs to the Lord anyway. But you might have to lose it. You might have to take a risk with your job. You might have to risk your children. You might have to lose your children. You got a lot of people saying, nah, that's my kids. I don't know about that. That's my little girl. No, man. Hey, read 2 Maccabees, the 15th chapter. Right? We're going to get to that, but read that. Those men, they literally said, you know what? To hell with my children right now. The Lord is more important. And the Lord gave you those children. The Lord gave you your wife. The Lord gave you a husband. All right. So I'm going to keep reading. It says, verse 22. Now when Yahushua heard these things, he said unto him, yet lackest thou one thing. Sell all that thou hast, and distribute unto the poor. And thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. So the Lord told this man, literally, go sell everything you have right now. So what? You kept the 10 Commandments. So what? You did that. Sell everything you got. And this man, you might have a lot. And they say the more you have, the harder it's going to be to let go. So you might have literally 20 pairs of shoes. You might have 5,000 pair of pants in a drawer you don't even wear. And you're like, nah, they're my favorite ones. You know how Jake is. Nah, those are my favorite shoes. You can't have those. And the Lord told him to go sell everything you have right now. Now this man, he got a choice. He could either sell everything he has, or he could hold on to his possessions. And you don't want to be the man that hold on to possessions, especially not in this world, because everything is corrupt. You can't enjoy nothing here. Everything is going to burn eventually. Or I'm going to keep reading. It says, verse 23, and when he heard this, he was very sorrowful. So he started crying. He started getting sad. It says, for he was very rich. Verse 24, and when Yahushua saw that he was very sorrowful, he said, how hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of God? See that? He didn't want to let go of the possessions he had. He still kind of loved this world. You got a lot of brothers and sisters in the truth. They still low-key love this world. They love the bright lights. They love going out on Fridays, going to the movies still. They still love watching movies, movie time. Hey, it's no time for movie time, the times we live in it. Right? I literally just said earlier, it's an earthquake every damn day now. Literally, it's an earthquake every day. There's no more food on the shelves. The shelves are starting to get empty. There's no more toilet paper. We're living in the end of the world. So this man didn't want to let go. Verse 25, for it is easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than for a rich man enter into the kingdom of God. See that? So this rich man, he didn't want to take that risk. Now this rich man, he never seen the kingdom. He hasn't seen little kids playing in the street, men never dying, right? The beautiful fruits that the Lord has, the animals, right? The streets paved with gold. This rich man, he haven't seen that, but he didn't want to take the risks. Now he could have took the risk and sold everything that he had and followed the Lord and hoped for eternal life. But he got jammed up. He loved this world. Right? So this truth, you have to take risks, man. You got to be a risk taker. All right, Jake want to be a risk taker on down Forex, on down Bitcoin. But when it comes to this truth, you don't want to take a risk. What type of man did that make you? All right. And what do you have in this world right now anyway? Everything is corrupt. Literally. The water is polluted. The food is GMO. You can't enjoy the food. Damn, the clothes is madness. Your damn soap is probably itching your skin. You got nightmares at night. You got to go to work. Your damn shoes, the shoes hurting your feet. What do you have in America on this world? All right, let me get this in 2 Corinthians. All right, let's go to 2 Corinthians, chapter 4. All right, it's the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, and verse. Man, this whole thing good. I'm gonna start at verse 16. It says, "For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment." Right? So the Lord called this light affliction. You losing your job. All right. Your boss mandating the jab. If you don't get the jab by December 4th, you're fired. That's light affliction. All right. You getting put to death for the Lord. That's light affliction, man. He said working for it. It says if it's but a moment. Literally, like you standing at the top of the Eiffel Tower. That's gonna last for 5 minutes. Then you're gonna kind of get back down and go back to the US. It's us only working for a moment. It says, working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. So every brother and sister in this truth should be looking at the things that you can't see. That's not talking about demons. That's not talking about ghosts. The things you can't see is the riches, the cattle, the glory, man, right? Eternal life, everlasting life, the slaves, the dominion, not having an evil eye toward your brother. These are things that you can't see. All right, that's why I say in 1 Corinthians 2:9, I have not seen, neither ear have heard the things that the Lord has for them that love him, paraphrasing it. All right, so you can't see these things. All right, you can't see a river just pure clear. Go outside, go to the nearest river and go see if it's clear. All right, go to the oceans. See if the oceans is clear blue. The damn clouds is all gray. The sun not even, it's madness, man. But these are things we can't see. It says, for the things which are seen are temporal. All right, and we are becoming a risk taker. You got to count the cost. The things you see is temporal. Everything that you can see right now is temporal. All right, this damn key is temporal. All right, the light bulb is temporal. Your car outside, that's temporal. Your house, it's all temporal. Didn't the Lord say in 2 Peter 3:10 on down, everything you see is going to be melted and dissolved with fervent heat? It's all temporal, man. Right? It says what? Which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So everything you can't see that I just listed is eternal. Everlasting life. That's what we're talking about. So again, you got to ask yourself, are you willing to risk your job for everlasting life? Are you willing to risk your family members? Your friends in the world? You got your friends hitting you up. Why you not hanging with me no more? Or we used to go to B-dubs all the time. Well, we're not dealing with that. Hey, are you willing to risk your life for the Lord, man? All right, let's go to Hebrews, the 11th chapter. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. Right? That's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, and verse. I'm going to start at verse 39 to the point. All right, this whole chapter, if you haven't read Hebrews, the 11th chapter, you got to get in there. All right, this is Hebrews 11 and verse number 39. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. So guess what? Abraham, he obtained a good report through faith. Abraham took risks, but Abraham, he didn't see the promise. Abraham didn't see the kingdom of God yet. Moses, he didn't see the kingdom of heaven yet. Literally, Jacob, Isaac, these men, they haven't seen the kingdom, but they all took risk. All right, let's go to Genesis, the 13th chapter. Right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 13. Actually, I want Genesis chapter 12 and verse 1. All right? It's the book of Genesis, chapter 12 and verse 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. So straight up, the Lord told Abraham, get from where you are right now and go to this land where I tell you to go. Now Abraham, he don't know what's going on. He don't know where he's going. He's picking up all of his things and he's going to wherever the Lord tells him to go. Abraham, he had to take a risk. Now, Abraham was very rich, if you didn't know. Or he had a lot of cattle. I tell you that in Genesis, the 13th chapter. So him having a lot of cattle, he will literally have to take all of that cattle, pick up not only his cattle, his spices, his gold, his merchandise, and take all of that into somewhere he don't even know where he's going. A lot of you Jakes, if the Lord say pick up right now and go move to Atlanta, and let's say you have a lot of possessions, you might look at the Most High like he's crazy. What do you mean where I'm going? I don't know. You don't know where you're going. But what? Abraham, he took the risk. Well, let's keep reading. It says, and I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Verse number 3. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. See that? So Abraham, he didn't backtalk to the Lord. He didn't say, Mosai, what are you doing? Why do I have to go there? You know what? You're getting on my nerves. You're like Jake like to say, you tweaking. Abram didn't tell the Most High you tweaking. He didn't say nothing. He took everything he had, and it is what it was. It was what it was. And he took a risk, man. And the more you build up your faith, the more it's going to be easier to take risks. You should want to take risks on the Lord. Okay, I know the Lord got me. Yeah, my job is mandating a job, but I know the Lord, he going to provide for me. He going to make sure my bills get paid. All right, let's go to the classic. All right, let's go to Sirach, the second chapter. Let's go to the classic. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2, and verse 10. To the point, it says, look at the generations of old and see, did any ever trust in the Lord and was confounded? And on a deeper fold, when you're taking risks, you're damn near trusting in the Lord. Or let's say you take any risk, you're trusting in something. Like the example that I used, let's say you had a Los Angeles Lakers playing the Brooklyn Nets, and you like, dang, I don't know who winning. And you betting your homie. You say, I got my money on the Lakers. And you somewhat trusting that the Lakers is gonna win. Now you don't know if the Lakers is gonna win, but what? You're trusting that the Lakers come out with the victory. That's how it is with the Lord, man. You don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get the kingdom. I don't know if I'm gonna be here next week. I don't know. Right? But I'm willing to take the risk and risk it all for the Most High. That's the least you could do. The least you could do is risk your life for the Lord, the goods you have, the family members, the friends, the damn shoes, the cars, whatever you have, that's the least you could do is risk it all up. We just read in Acts 15 and 25 on down that Paul and Barnabas, they risked their lives for the Lord, man. So how much more you? And I'm no better than my fathers. So how much more me risking everything I have for the Most High? But I'm going to keep reading. It says, did any ever trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Of whom did he ever despise that called upon him? And that's a rhetorical question. Because unless brothers and sisters got the account, name one time that somebody put their trust in the Most High and the Most High said, I'm not dealing with him. We're not dealing with that. You got to pull up the account. Or you got to pull up the book, chapter, and verse. And when somebody, they trusted in the Lord and they was confounded. They was speechless. They say, Lord, what do you do? Where are you? I trusted in you. You let me down. Hey, the Lord has never let a man down that put their trust in. That's a fact. All right? So you have to take risks. Hey, Susana, she literally took a risk, man. Well, let's get that in the book of history of Susana. Right? Let's literally get that in the book of history of Susana. Slovakia, bear with me. It's the book. And the times is coming. If you don't know, you will have to take risks. All right? It's coming. I already know it might be, the time is coming. I might have to lose my job. That's why you have to think upon these things. Don't just say, when the time come, it'll come. No, brother, think right now. You want to plan ahead. A wise man, he seeth the evil and he hideth himself. That's Proverbs 22:3. So the wise thing was you to sit down. Okay, I know I could possibly lose my job. All right, but I'm still willing to serve the Lord. I know I could lose my Section 8. You know, my kids, they might not be able to eat. Okay, I'm fine with that. These are the things you should be thinking about on your free time. You got Jake, he on his free time, he's not reading, he's definitely not studying, and on his free time, he's thinking about women. How many women numbers he could get at count. That's wicked, brother. These are the things you should be meditating and thoughts. I might do a video on that. Thoughts and meditations on the last days. Because your thought process, that's what's going to keep you stable. All right, your thinking, your thoughts, those things are going to keep you stable in the last days. If you constantly meditating on folly, more than likely your actions is going to be foolishness. But if you're meditating on righteousness, the commandments, dying for the Lord, although that might not be your lot, but these are things you got to think out in advance. You got to plan ahead. You got to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. All right. So let's get this in History of Susana. All right. It's the book of History of Susana. Verse 2. It says, and he took a wife whose name was Susana, the daughter of Chelcias, a very fair woman and one that feared the Lord. Her parents were also righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Right? Jumping down to verse number 6. It says, these kept much at Jehoiakim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto him. Verse 7. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susana went into her husband's garden to walk. Now Susana, if you don't know, Susana is a woman. She literally, she was the husband of Jehoiakim. And she was raised up according to the law of Moses. She was beautiful, man. She was wise, and she feared the Lord. Now she's literally walking into her husband's garden. Guess what? Verse 8. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her. See that? So you had two men that was watching Susana every single day. But I mean every day. It's not a day went by that they wasn't stalking Susana. And it said what? It said their lust was inflamed toward her. They was thinking wickedness about Susana. What they might do to her. How they might do this. That. It says, verse 9, and they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgment. And that's filthy. That's nasty. That's evil. And that's filthy, man. These men, they so inflamed with the lust towards Susana. Guess what? They forgot about the Most High. They forgot about the commandments. And this is another man's wife. Susana, she belongs to another man. And they were still inflamed with lust toward her. It says, verse 10, and albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet there's not one shew another his grief. Right, I'm going to jump down to verse 16. It says, and there was nobody save the two elders that had hid themselves and washed her. Then she said to her maids, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors that I may wash me. And as they did, as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them, but they saw not the elders because they were hid. So these men, they literally hid themselves to try to spy on Susana, to lie with her. Now when the maids were going forth, the two elders rose up and ran into her, saying, behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us and lie with us. See that? And there's no telling how strong these two elders was. They was probably big, buff, weighed 280, 6'5". And they say no man is here. Let's just get it over with. That's what they said to Susana. Now Susana, she had to literally take a what? She had to take a risk. It's going to tell you. It says what? If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. See that? So the two elders, they saying, guess what? If you don't want to lie with us, you got one choice. You can either lie with us, or we going to bear false. We going to get you a bad name in Israel. And let's go back to Deuteronomy 23:7. There shall be no whore amongst the daughters of Israel. So Susana, she got a choice. She could literally risk all that she has. Her name, right? Her image, her reputation, right? Everything she has. Or she could lie with these two elders and could commit adultery against her husband. Let's see what Susana did. Verse 22. Then Susana sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. For if I do this thing, it is death unto me. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. See, that's what she said. If I do this, it's death. If I do this, I can't escape your hands. Let's see what she said. Verse 23. Hey, it is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. So, hey, Susana, she took risks. Yeah, you got Jake saying, well, it is the Day of Atonement. We is in captivity. Let me just work. Brother, call off. You don't have to go in. You got brothers making excuses. Oh, I have to go in for the Day of Atonement. Brother, you didn't have to go in for the Day of Atonement. All right, brothers just want to... Hey, brothers is wicked, man. It's so much. Literally, it's so much folly in Israel. It's crazy, man. For us to come into the truth and still be doing the worldly things. But the point of the matter is, Susana, she did what was right. She took that risk. Now, there's no telling what those elders could have did to her. But she said, it's better for me to do that than to sin against the Most High. So it's better for you to not go out with your friends in the world, than to them sin against the Lord. Right? My auntie, she just asked me, did I want to go to Fright Fest? Do I want to go to Six Flags? We're not going to Six Flags. In 2021, I believe it's October 11th. In 2021, October 11th, we're not going to Fright Fest. If you didn't know, October 11th, 2021 is the last days. These is the days you're going to have to make that choice. You want to fornicate with that woman or you don't. You want to hit her up on Snapchat or you gotta take risks. It can be sticky sometimes. Hey, Satan might want you to commit adultery, but you gotta say, no, I can't do that. Let me trust in the Lord. Satan might literally want you not to pray. Like, these are the things you have to be thinking of in the last days. Reading on, it says, with that, Susana cried with a loud voice, and the two elders cried against her. All right, that's it on that, right? But when you read at the end of that, Susana got justice, right, through Daniel and his just judgment. All right, so let's go back to Hebrews, the 11th chapter. All right, let's go to Hebrews, the 11th chapter. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, and verse number 24. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And that's all it is in America. It's nothing but the pleasures of sin for a season. And the Lord just said for a season, man. Everything that's in the world right now is for a season. The wickedness, the smoking weed is for a season. The committing adultery is for a season. The lust, that's for a season. The slothfulness, everything you could think of that's ungodly and contrary to the Most High is only for a season, man. You gotta literally think about this. And it's not a coincidence that everywhere you go is wickedness. You go to the damn gas station, and guess what? It's wickedness. You go to your job, it's wickedness at your job. You go to Subway, it's wickedness at Subway. You down go to Count, it's definitely wickedness at Count. You down, it's so much wickedness in the world, it's crazy. But the Lord said all of that is for a season. So Moses, he had to take a risk. Now I wanna read that verse over again. Verse 24, by faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Now, Pharaoh was rich. All right. Egypt at that time had one of the biggest and beautifulest empires during that time. So if you was called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, best believe, hey, you was gonna be the man. But what? Moses, he took that risk. He said, you know what? I'm gonna suffer affliction with the people of God than to what? To literally have the cares of his life for a season. So Moses, he had to take that risk. And let me get this in 1 John real fast. Right? And it's not, I'm gonna keep saying it's nothing in this world for us, man. Literally. I want to get this in 1 John chapter 2. Salakia. I want to get this in 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh. Though that situation with the two elders, best believe that's happening right now as we speak. Somewhere in America, down, we don't know, that account with Susana is happening somewhere. So you had a lust of the flesh here. Women, they might be eyeballing you. They want you to lie with them. Women coming up to you, they saying, what's your name? Can I get your number, sweetie? All right, that's the lust of the flesh. You wanted to smoke weed. You wanted to do whatever the hell you want to do. It says what? And the lust of the eyes. You be holding everything and you're wanting it. You seeing the bright lights. You seeing that new promotion at your job. Hey, somebody just probably got promoted at your job. $20 an hour. Hey, the boss offering you. All right, he said, hey, you know what? I want you. Whoever is watching this, I want you $20 an hour. You could get promoted. All you have to do is what? You got to come in on the days that you fast. Imagine that. You got specific days that you fast during the week. Your boss say, you know what? I want you to come in on the days that you fast. Literally $20 an hour is waiting for you. And you got to take that risk. You have to say, dang, well, if I go in, I am going to get extra money. But if I don't, damn, I want to rather fast. We're living in the end anyway. I want to fast for the Lord. Next thing you know, you go on that fast. It's a spirit that you wanted off you. The Lord removed it from you. So these are the risks that's coming. And you might be in Jacob's trouble. You have nothing to eat. When I mean nothing to eat, your damn tongue getting itchy because nothing came in your mouth. Your throat dry. And you see a squirrel run past. You see a damn squirrel run by. You got a bow and arrow. You got all the tools you need. What are you going to do, man? Are you going to eat the squirrel? Or are you going to say, you know what? I'm going to just sit back. I'm going to trust in the Lord. He's going to feed you. These is the risk that's coming in Jacob's trouble. That's coming to the world right now. All right. I'm going to keep reading. It says, and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. Because man is proud, best believe. This Edomite at my so-called job, he got his hand caught in the machine. Now, he was evil. All right, he was in there talking to Issachar any type of way. He was being rude, disrespectful. Guess what? The Lord got his hand jammed up in a machine. Literally, like 3 days later, he came back. And he was still prideful. He still had that pride on him. Now, this man just got his hand caught in the machine. He was screaming. He said, help, help, somebody help me. And everybody looking at him. I would have been embarrassed. But guess what? Damn, 3 days later, he came back with pride. That's the pride of life. Because man is so prideful, it's not even funny. Man got pride on him. Big time. The Lord said all of that is in the world. It says what? It's not of the Father, but it's of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. So you brothers and sisters have to train your mind that everything that's in this world is going to pass away. It says, and the lust thereof. All of the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh. The things that you get off to is going to pass away, man. You watching pornography, guess what? That's going to be going. You weed smokers, man. Men that like to just smoke blunts. That's going to pass away. But what? But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. See that? He that doeth the will of God abideth forever. So the Lord is giving you the keys right now. He give you the keys to the door. It's just whether you're going to take that risk or not. Because you could, like we read earlier, you could possibly lose your life. Your children. All right, that's what I wanted to get. Let me go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 15. You could lose your children. You might have to give up you might have to leave your children, man. They not in the truth. Your daughter, she 14 years old. She don't care. You telling her to put on a dress. She said, I'm not dealing with that. You might have a down 8-year-old son. He's disrespectful. He don't do his homework. And you might have to leave your children. All right, let's go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 15. It's the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, and verse number 18. I'm going to start at verse 17. It says, thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good and able to stir them up to valor and to encourage the hearts of the young men. Right? Literally, Judas Maccabees, he told him a dream that he had of Jeremiah, a prophet, handing him a golden sword. And it literally stirred up and set the whole body on fire. It says, and to encourage the hearts of young men, and they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. The temple was in danger by Nicanor, the so-called white man. All right, now they ready. Judas, man, he just exhorted them. They chanting. Hey, they ready, man. It says what? Verse 18. For the care that they took of their wives and their children, their brethren, and their kinsfolk was in least account with them. See that? So it said they children was in the back of their head. He wasn't even thinking about his kids. Now, a lot of Jake said, you going up. Are you saying you don't have children? That's why you're not saying that. But if I did have children, it would be the same thing. My mind still wouldn't. The Lord come first before my children. It don't matter if you have kids or not, a wife, a damn husband, brother, kinsfolk. It don't. None of that stuff matter to the eyes of the Lord. It might matter to men. You might could say, well, I got kids. That's special to me. All right. But the Lord don't care if you got kids. Did the Lord care if Abraham had a kid? The Lord didn't care if Isaac was his son. But in Genesis, the 22nd chapter, he told Abraham to offer up Isaac. So the Lord didn't care. All right. It says, I'm going to read it again. For their care that they took of their wives and their children, their brethren and kinsfolk was in least account with them. But the greatest and principal fear was for the holy temple. See that? So these men, they didn't give a damn about nothing but the temple, but the work of the Lord, man. And we got to mind ourselves. Hey, the Lord can give you 100 kids in a kingdom. You could literally have 100 kids. 80. You can have 15 wives. All right, in the kingdom. Why keep the things you have right now and give it up and not give it up for everlasting life? But these is the risks that man is gonna have to take that's coming to the earth. All right, let's go to the book of Luke. All right, let's go to the book of Luke. And I want Luke chapter 18 and verse number 29. And he said unto them, verily I say unto you, there is no man that have left house or parents or brother or wife or children for the kingdom of God's sake, who shall not receive manyfold more in this present time and in the world to come. So like in the world to come, life everlasting. So Christ, he tells you straight up and down. This is not me. I'm not making up these words. Yahweh Shai, he's literally saying, if you forsake all of these things, the women, the children, everything you have, you're guaranteed you're gonna receive everlasting life in the kingdom of heaven. It's not my words. It's the words of the Lord. And only a wise man would take let me get this in Matthew the 7th chapter. Right? Only a wise man would take heed and say, you know what? That Yahweh Shai did say that. But a lot of times, man, think we get this all the time at camp. We making up we putting stuff in the Bible. I didn't write this book. All right? I didn't write the Bible. I didn't say King James, Holy Bible, 1611, by Tazamah. I didn't do that. And the Lord wrote this book. All I'm doing is just reading what the Lord said read. All right? This is Matthew chapter 7. And verse number 24. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken unto him a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. So if you hear all of these wise sayings, not only hear them, but do them, and the Lord, he said, you're a wise man. You're a wise woman if you do these things. Everything that's written in the law, that's written in the prophets, right? The New Testament, the wisdom. If you do all of these things, you're a wise man. You're a wise woman that has built their house upon a rock. Meaning what? You have a strong foundation. Verse 25. And the rain descended, and the floods came. The floods, the rain, it represents hell, destruction. It says, and the winds blew. That could be doctrine. It says, and beat upon that house, and it fell not. Now, why didn't the house that was built upon a rock didn't fall when you had floods come in? Down winds blowing on it. It's going to tell you why. It says, for it was founded upon a rock. See that? So if you hear the words of Yahweh Shah, everything that he commanded the disciples to do, and literally receive that and do them, you will be a wise man that buildeth your house upon a rock. It says, verse 26, and every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon sand. Only a fool will build his house upon sand. Name it. Really on the beach they do that, but if you see a man in the hood, let's say you in the hood, and his house made out of sand, and you might start laughing. That's how the Lord compares a man to hear these things and doesn't do them, to a foolish man that built his house upon the sand. It says what? And the rain, it says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. See that? So great was the fall of the man that heard these words, but didn't do them. So brothers and sisters, you have to be willing to take risk and risk all that you have for the Lord. All right, let me get this in Sirach. Right, let me get this in Sirach. Asalaki, let me get this in 2 Maccabees. All right, before we go to that, let me get this in 2 Maccabees. Now we touched on you might have to lose your job, right? You might have to lose your children. You might have to forsake your children, your mom, right? Literally, my mom, I only talk to her if it's a, hey, how you doing? And you might used to be a mama's boy. Are you Jakes know what I'm talking about? You must have loved your mama. All right, it was elementary school. Somebody said something about your mama. You said, say that again. You know, it's going to be consequences. Don't talk about my mama. You used to probably be a daddy's girl for you sisters. Guess what? The Lord, he don't care about that. He care about the men, women, and children that do the will of their Father. So, hey, I don't talk to my mom no more. And it is what it is. That's a risk that I had to take. I know some men, they had to take the risk of not playing basketball no more. Now, you could have been you could have been an NBA scouts was looking at you. You played college ball, you was hooping. But they require you to hoop on a Sabbath day. What you gonna do? You gonna hoop on a Sabbath? Or you gonna say, I'm not dealing with that? Again, these is the risks that you brothers and sisters gonna have to take. All right, let me get this in 2 Maccabees. And one of the most risks of all time, you might have to lose your life. You might have to risk your life. Why? For the kingdom of heaven that you haven't seen. Let's go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 7. All right. It's the book, Salakia, page. It's the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7, and verse number 1. It reads, it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king again to taste swine's flesh and were tormented with whips and scourges. Now, the last point we're going to touch on, you might have to risk your life for the Lord. Now, these men, they got a choice. And Satan, he's always going to bring, the Most High, I'm going to say this, the Most High, he's going to make you, he's going to bring you a choice. You have a choice. Everything in this truth is a life or death situation. You could either do this or you could do that. Now, Satan, he might make it seem like that choice that's not right. It might feel good to you. It might even seem good. You got some people, they say the jab. That's not that bad. I mean, people's not dying off of it. You know, I do got to feed my family. Let me just go ahead and take it. You know, the Dr. Fazey did say, we don't care about what Dr. Fazey said, man. To hell with Dr. Fazey, or whatever his name is. All right? You're going to have to choose, man. The time is coming. You will have to choose life or death. Right? So these men, they were literally compelled to eat swine's flesh. It says what? Verse 2. But one of them that spake first said this, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? He said, what are you doing? Did you just ask me this? He said, we are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our Father. See that? So you got to be willing to die than to transgress the laws of your forefathers. It shouldn't be no ifs, ands, or buts. Esau, he come in, he grab you up. He take you to the FEMA camp. He got you tied up. You can't move, you're tied up. All right? He said, guess what? And you haven't eaten in 30 days. And he get a nice juicy baconator for you. He lay the cheese down. He might even eat the bacon himself. He kind of have the crunch. All right, he said, you got to eat this. And you could just live. You will fit in society. So you got a choice. You can eat that baconator and get put to death, because ultimately the Lord going to destroy you. So you can eat that baconator and continue to fit in with the society, or you could die for the Lord and hope for everlasting life in the kingdom. Now this man, he had his mind made up. He said, what is that a question? Are you asking me that? Hey, I'm ready to put my life on the line for the Lord. And ultimately, your life is not even your life. It really belongs to the Most High. You just renting it. Just like you would go and rent a house, you're renting the bodies, you're renting this flesh right now. And your spirit belongs to the Most High. Now let's get that real fast. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18. All right. A lot of brothers, they think that this is their life. We hear it all the time. Jake say, let me live my life. First, brother, it's not your life. On a deeper fold, it takes time with being in the truth as well. The longer you in the truth, the more stuff you're going to start to learn. You start to learn that this life don't belong to you. The Lord, this belongs to the Lord. But Jake say, nah, this is my life. I do whatever I want to do. Let me just live my life. Right? I had somebody tell me, he said, ain't nobody going to tell me how to live. You only live one. This is my life. No, it's the Lord's life. It's the Lord's spirit. He created that. That belongs to him. So how much more are you losing it? It's not yours anyway. Why not die for the Lord? You used to be a murderer. You used to be I ain't gonna say it. You used to be a THOT. All right, excuse my language. You used to be a whoremonger, a damn thief. You used to be gambling all day. All right, the least you could do is give up your life for the Lord. Why not? It don't belong to you anyway. These is the thoughts you have to meditate on in the last days. It's the book of Ezekiel. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18 and verse 4. Behold, all souls are mine. I'm going to read it again. It says, behold, all souls are mine. See that? So all the souls of the Lord, it belongs to him. Every soul that's on this earth, guess what? It's the Lord's. So who are you? Right? Let's go to Matthew, the 16th chapter. Let's go to Matthew, chapter 16. And you men that's going out there on the highways and byways, you're taking a risk every time you go out. A lot of people don't think about that. One of the main things you should be thinking about when you go to camp, I could possibly lose my life today. These are risks you're taking. You might be taking a risk, you don't even know it. You go on account, you possibly could lose. You might not come back to your home to your wife. Here you have it. The wife, she expect you to come home. She cooked some pot roast. She got the carrots in there, the cucumbers. She got your French fries, the ones you like. All right, and you don't even make it back home. Cause when you out there teaching on the highways and byways, and you could get killed out there. Men could stone you. Not saying men would stone you, but hey, men could shoot you. You might tell a brother to repent. You know, you can't be a homosexual. Guess what? He pull out his pistol and shoots you. So these is hey, you men that's going out there, y'all already taking risks. All right. This Matthew chapter 16. Right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 16, and verse number 24. It says, Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, right? And a lot of brothers say, I want to follow the Lord. I want to follow this. I want to follow the Most High. Or the Lord is giving you the directions. It says, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So the Lord said, you got to deny yourself. It tell you in Luke 14 and 26 on down, if a man, let's get that real fast. We're going to go back to Matthew. It's the same account, but the one that Luke get kind of crazy. It's the book of Luke, chapter 14 and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and his mother and his wife and his children and his brethren and his sisters, yeah, and his own life, he cannot be my disciple. So Christ said, if you want to follow me, you have to take the risk of hating your own life, hating yourself. Because you're in the flesh. You're subject to go off at any moment. But Christ said, if you don't even hate your own life, and some brothers, they hate their life. Hey, Paul said in Romans, the 7th chapter, literally, I have something in my members that's warring against my spirit, which was the law of sin. Because Paul knew that he was in the flesh. He was subject to go off. He was subject to vanity, just to hope in the Lord. All right. So some men, they hated their life. Hey, Jonah hated his life. When you read Jonah 4 and 8 on down, he said, it's better for me to die than to live. Right? And the more you hate your life, the more you don't want to be here. Hey, that's the easier it is to give it up. When the time of persecution comes, you say, damn, shit, it ain't nothing else in America for me. I can't prosper. People calling me a black Hebrew Israelite. People at work, they're asking me, what is that carpet at the end of my shirt? My mom don't like me. My dad don't like me. My cousin's calling me weird. My damn job fired me yesterday because I said I was an Israelite. Damn, you getting scoffed? Hey, I know a brother. He was at camp and he told me Eve threw down a phone at his nose. She threw her phone at his nose. All right. So majority of brothers, they hate it here. Right? I hate it in America. You can't prosper at all. The society is to keep the society in America is set up to keep the black, so-called black man at its lowest state ever. The Israelite man. So you can't prosper here off bat. All right. So Christ said, if you hate, not him, your own life, you gotta hate your life, your own life. And when you read Revelation, so like, let me link that up real fast. In the book of Revelation, hey, the elect, they're gonna hate their own life. Let's go to that in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse number 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. See that? So it said the elect, they didn't love their lives unto the death. So it was what it was. Peter, he didn't love his life. And we go into the history A Peter got crucified upside down because he didn't feel worthy to get crucified how Yahweh Shai did. Alright, so let's go back to Matthew, man. So the ultimate risk, you might have to risk your life. It is what it is. Alright. Let's go to the book of Matthew again. Matthew 16:24. Then said Yahweh Shai to his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. Don't try to save your life in America. Don't be that man that's saying, hey, you know what? It's the I love the Pop-Tarts here. You got Jake saying, I love the Pop-Tarts here. And guess what? He tried to save his life like Lot's wife did. I am making down $5,000 a month. Why not? Those are the men that want to save their lives. They low-key love this society. And the Lord said you will lose it. That's how you lose your life, by trying to save it. It says, and whosoever will lose his life for my name's sake shall find it. See that? So if you lose your life for the Lord's sake, you're gonna find it. Meaning you're gonna receive everlasting life. It says, verse 26, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? What can you give exchange? Like, that is literally the least you could do. Now I want to get this definition for the word risk. Right? So like you bear with me. I want to get this definition for the word risk. Risk definition. Now I don't know if y'all can see this, but it's the definition for the word risk. It says a situation involving exposure to danger. It says expose something or someone or something value to danger, harm, or loss. So you might have to expose anything you have to danger, harm, or you might even lose it. All right. So you brothers and sisters have to make risk and take risk in the last days. Are you going to choose to fit in with the society? All right. Or you are going to stand out and stand up for the name of the Lord. Let me get one more precept before I close up. I want to go back to Acts 15. Right. I want to go back to Acts 15. It's the book of Acts, chapter 15, and verse 25. It seemed good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you, our beloved Paul, Barnabas, and Paul. So Barnabas and Paul were literally chosen men. It says what? Men that have hazarded their lives for the name of the Lord, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. See that? So men that have hazarded their lives for the name of the Lord, Jesus Christ. So you brothers and sisters got to be able to risk your life for the name of the Lord. All right, and so Lord willing, this video was edifying, giving all honor and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashema Mashiach Pomadak Yahweh Shai. Continue to read, pray, fast, beg for mercy in the last days, and that you're accounted to escape all these things that shall come to pass and be able to stand before the Son of Man. But with that, Shalom.